Kyoko backed away, her mind racing. The knock was gentle, but it carried an eerie persistence, like whoever was outside had endless patience. Kyoko backed away, her mind racing. The knock was gentle, but it carried an eerie persistence, like whoever was outside had endless patience. Then she heard it, footsteps, soft, deliberate, moving around the house. The woman was circling her home, the rustling of her kimono blending with the whispers that began once more. "Kyoko, why do you run?" Panic surged through her. She sprinted to her room, sliding the door shut and locking it. She pulled the blanket over her head, praying that the whispers would stop. But they didn't. They grew louder, more insistent, as though they were inside her mind now, swirling around her thoughts. Then came the knock again, this time on her bedroom door. Kyoko's breath caught in her throat. She squeezed her eyes shut, willing herself to disappear. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the knocking and whispers ceased. Slowly, she pulled the blanket down, her wide eyes scanning the room. The door was still closed, the room silent. Relief washed over her for just a moment, until she felt the cold breath on the back of her neck. "Kyoko!" she screamed, leaping out of bed and yanking the door open. She ran down the darkened hallway, her footsteps echoing through the old house. But the whispers followed her, growing louder, more sinister. They filled the walls, the floors, and the very air she breathed. She reached the living room, her only thought to escape through the front door. But as she slid it open, her heart stopped. The woman in white stood there, now fully visible. Her face, pale and hollow, stared directly into Kyoko's eyes, her lips curling into a twisted smile. Her hands reached out, long, bony fingers beckoning toward Kyoko. Before Kyoko could move, the woman spoke in a voice that sent shivers down her spine. "You cannot leave. You belong to the shadows now." The lights in the house flickered and went out. The air thickened, pressing down on her like a weight. Kyoko tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. Her vision blurred as she felt the floor shift beneath her feet. It was as if the house itself was swallowing her, pulling her into the very darkness she had feared. The last thing she heard before everything went black was the woman's final whisper, chilling and triumphant. "Welcome home, Kyoko." When her parents returned the next morning, they found the house in perfect order, but Kyoko was nowhere to be found. Her phone, shoes, and the flashlight lay undisturbed near the sliding door to the garden. No one ever saw Kyoko again, but on quiet nights, the neighbors would claim they could hear a faint voice, carried by the wind, calling out a single name, "Kyoko?"